Okay, we are in 11.2, radical equations. And the examples start on page 459. But one thing that we need to discuss, this is the inverse operation in solving equations. So when we have the inverse operation of addition, it's subtraction. And when we have the inverse operation of subtraction, it's addition, or multiplication, it's division. They're the opposites of each other. Well, so that's what inverse operation means. So if I have the inverse operation of a square root, the inverse of it, inverse operation, is to square it. So this allows me, when I square it, what happens is it deletes, it erases, it gets rid of the radical sign right here. And so then I can find out the answer. So 6 squared is 36. Well, this makes sense because the square root of 36 is 6. So that's what we're going to be doing today, is solving the radical equations that are here in the book. So let's go ahead and get started. So number 1, it's the square root of x equals 4. So my first thing I want to do is I want to square both sides, because whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So now I'm left with x equals 4 squared is 16. Number 3, the square root of x is equal to 15. I square both sides, and I get x is equal to 15 squared is 225. Let's go to number 5. 2 times the square root of x is equal to 36. Well, I don't want to square all of this. Only thing I want to be able to square is anything that's with the square root or the radical sign. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. This eliminates. I'm left with the square root of x is equal to 18. Now I square both sides, and x is equal to 324. Number 7. Negative 3 times the square root of x is equal to negative 18. So again, I'm going to divide both sides. On this one, I'm going to divide by the negative 3. I get the square root of x is equal to 6. Then I square both sides, and x is equal to 36. Number 9. The square root of x minus 7 is equal to negative 3. I can't square all of this because this is not underneath the radical sign or the square root sign. So I'm going to add 7 to both sides. This eliminates. I have the square root of x equals 4. Now we will square both sides, because remember, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. And I get x is equal to 16. Okay, let's skip to number 13. 13 is 5 times the square root of x minus 2 is equal to negative 15. So on this one, we're going to divide both sides by 5 first. This cancels each other out, and I'm left with the square root of x minus 2 is equal to negative 3. Well, I can stop right there because if you remember from the previous lesson, you cannot have a negative as an answer of a square root. So this one, we would have no real solution as our answer. Number 17 is 3 square root x plus 7 is equal to 43. So on this one, we have to wait till we narrow the process, narrow it down to where we have nothing left but the square root. So we're going to subtract 7 from each side. This cancels. I have 3 square root of x is equal to 36. We're going to divide both sides by 3. So the square root of x, I'm going to have to tilt this down so that you can see it, is equal to 12. Then we will square both sides. So x is equal to 144. Let's move on to number 21. Number 21 is the square root of x plus 2 minus 8 is equal to 12. We're going to add 8 to both sides. So this eliminates or cancels out, and we're left with the square root of x plus 2 is equal to 20. I'm going to square both sides. Squaring this eliminates the square root sign, the radical sign, so I'm left with x plus 2 equals 400. Subtract 2, that eliminates and cancels out, and I'm left with x equals 398. Okay, I think that concludes for today's lesson. If you have any questions, make sure to reach out to me and check your Google Classroom for the homework problems and get that submitted. Have a great day.